Hi everyone, I've been meaning to get around to these videos for a while. I want to cover a few positional tips in a bite-sized way that can really help you improve your chess if that's something you're looking to do. Now we're on a rest day in the Superbet Chess Classic 2022. I've been covering that tournament. I'll link all of the Firouzja games at the end that I've been covering. I love watching his games, analysing them. But in today's video I want to look at some simple bite-sized positional tips, and I'm starting with the concept of improving your worst piece. So this is one of the fundamentals of positional chess, and if you're stuck for what to do, then look for your worst piece on the board, look at how you can improve it. So my first game example here, it was played between Hikaru with the white pieces, we had Alexander Grischuk with black. It was recently played. Now it's Grischuk to move, Hikaru's just gone pawn g4 here, we can see Hikaru's got the space, Grischuk's very cramped, but I want to look at this piece on h8 here. So this is black's worst piece, it's stuck in the corner, how can Grischuk improve it? Now there are different options here for black. You could bring a rook to the c-file, it's not a bad move. There's also a tactical line with taking with the bishop on g4, then the knight takes on e4. You pick up 3 pawns for the piece, but it shouldn't be too much. But we're going to put that aside. The move that Grischuk played was to improve this bishop. Now he wants to bring it to f6, then it can even look to come to e7. But right now the knight stands in the way. So where does the knight want to go? Well, it wants to come to d7, then it can look to come to c5, but right now we have a bishop on d7. So what does Grischuk play? He goes bishop to c8, vacating the d7 square for the knight. Now it looks a really weird move. If you're coming at this game cold, you don't really understand that positional chess stuff, then you don't understand the underdevelopment, you don't understand why you've split the connection between the rooks. But once you understand that black's looking to improve the bishop, so we'll whiz over Hikaru's moves, the knight comes to d7, knight f2, now bishop f6. So in the space of 3 moves, we can see the difference between the pieces. If we just play a couple more moves here, eventually the bishop comes to e7 and the knight lands on c5. Grischuk's improved his position. Now he's still worse here, he's still cramped. He did actually go on to lose the game, but it's a great demonstration of how to improve that worst piece, even though that bishop c8 move looked really weird. Now if I jump to another position here, this is Alireza Firouzja with white. He was playing Jan Nepomniachtchi with black. This is from Norway Chess 2021. And we can see Alireza's built up an advantage here. So the material's level, but he has good control of the d-file, and he also has a better pawn structure. So he's just got the 2 pawn islands. There's these 2 over here on the queen side. Then you've got these 4. Jan's got the 3 pawn islands. You know, this one can become a bit weak later on, more so than the white pawns. Generally a better position for white. But this knight's stuck on h2. It's Alireza's worst piece, so he needs to be improving that one. Now you can start with rook takes on d7. You can even look at knight d2 to then bring this knight to f3. But Alireza went knight f1, another excellent move here. Very simple idea. That's his worst piece. He actually wants to bring it to c4, and you can go via d2 or e3 to get that piece there. Just to show a couple more moves here, this is what we had on the board, and then the knight hit d2. Now it also holds this pawn before it comes to c4, just allowing the queen to nudge up to c3 later in the game, pressuring this pawn. Very simple positional chess, but really important. And the final game I want to jump to here is this third one. So this was Levon Aronian with white. He was playing Richard Rapport. This is from the Superbet Chess Classic, played in the week just gone actually. And again, it's a no frills position, just a standard kind of chess position. White's got the space here in the centre as we can see. Black's a bit more cramped. This is a bad bishop. A bad bishop, by the way, is any bishop which is on the same colour complex as its own pawns in the centre. So when you've got that bad bishop, somehow you want to activate it outside the pawn chain, or exchange it off for another piece, or change the pawn structure somehow so that it's no longer a bad bishop. So we know that that one needs to improve. Also the knight on b6, where's it actually jumping? It can't come here, it can't come here, it can't come to d5. So those pieces need improving. Now c5 was one option to do that, but what Rapport does here is go bishop to e8. And again, it might look kind of weird sticking that bishop on the back rank, but now you do open the queen up, you free up the d7 square for the knight, and we'll also see here that after bishop to f1, Rapport now strikes at the centre, he goes pawn f5. So instead of going for the c5 option, he went pawn f5 instead. Another classic positional idea: if you're cramped for space, then you either want to look to initiate piece exchanges, because then you've got less pieces fighting for the same space, or you want to look for pawn breaks to liberate your position. And it's also a classic strategy to try and undermine that centre. If white's got the big centre, you want to undermine it, and vice versa. So f5 is a very thematic move. Now pawn g3 was played, supporting this bishop, allowing black to take here, set up the big centre. So Rapport delays doing that one. He goes bishop to g6 instead, and already we can see the improvement of that bishop. Now it's pressuring this e4 pawn, it's pressuring the centre. Now h4 was played, king h8, prophylactic move coming off the long diagonal, rook to c1, and now knight to d7. So the bishop had improved, the pawn had struck at the centre, now the knight from b6 starts to improve. And what black's actually threatening here now is pawn e5. So if we play a bit of a nothing move for white, say white goes knight to g2 here, well then you can take on e4, say white recaptures with the pawn, well now you get this e5 move. So you're really opening the game up for your knight. If you capture that pawn, yes, you've given a pawn, but queen e8, you're quickly winning it back, and a good game to boot, because you're going to have pressure on this e4 pawn in the centre. So this is at the heart of good positional chess. Make your pieces active, look for your worst piece, improve it, and you won't be going so far wrong. I hope you enjoyed this video, I hope you found it helpful. If you want to see the free Rouge games from this week's tournament, then click here, and to subscribe to the channel to never miss a future video, see below that. Thanks for watching, see you soon.